A teenager. A secret. A threat that grew too heavy to carry. And a predator thousands of miles away pulling the strings through a screen. This is the story of Hassanbunhussein Abolore Lawal, a Nigerian man extradited to the United States after a sextortion scheme that ended in the tragic suicide of a 17-year-old boy in South Carolina. It is a case that reveals how digital crimes can cross borders, destroy lives, and push governments to change laws. In 2022, a 17-year-old boy from South Carolina was targeted online. Investigators say that 24-year-old Lawal, living in Nigeria, posed as a woman on social media. He contacted the teen, manipulated him into sending explicit photos, and then demanded money to keep those images private. This was not just a scam. It was an escalating cycle of threats and coercion. The teen was trapped between fear of exposure and inability to pay. Under unbearable pressure, the boy took his own life. What makes the case even more chilling? According to federal prosecutors, Lawal continued attempting extortion even after the teenager's death. Authorities tracked him through international cooperation, leading to his arrest in Nigeria. After 2 years of legal process, Lawal was extradited to the U.S. to face federal charges. He now faces a series of indictments including child exploitation, resulting in death, production of child sexual abuse material coercion, and enticement of a minor cyberstalking resulting in death. Interstate extortion, each charge carries severe penalties with the possibility of life imprisonment. Why did this crime happen? At the individual level, Lawal exploited the anonymity of the internet to impersonate, manipulate, and blackmail. The goal was financial gain, but the methods involved psychological control, using shame and fear as weapons. At the technological level, this crime highlights how social media platforms and messaging apps can be weaponized. Predators can hide behind fake profiles, crossing national borders with ease. At the systemic level, the case underscores legal gaps. Sextortion has existed for years, but legislation has often lagged behind. In the U.S., this case spurred Congressman Brandon Guffey, who lost his own son to sextortion, to push forward Gavin's Law. This law strengthens penalties for sextortion, especially when minors are targeted and harmed. The Criminology. Several criminological perspectives help us understand this case. Victimology. The teenager was specifically vulnerable because of age, secrecy, and fear of exposure. Sextortion relies on targeting those who feel they cannot turn to authority figures. Routine activity theory. A motivated offender, Lawal, a suitable target, the teen, and a lack of capable guardianship, parents, platforms, law enforcement unable to intervene quickly, created the conditions for this crime. Social control theory. Lawal acted from a position of weak social bonds, outside U.S. jurisdiction, beyond community accountability, and shielded by digital distance. Cybercriminology. This case is a textbook example of transnational cybercrime. Unlike traditional offenses, the crime was executed entirely online, but the harm was as real and devastating as any physical assault. Legal reform. The aftermath shows the role of law in adapting to emerging crimes. Gavin's Law represents society's attempt to catch up with digital threats that can otherwise slip through outdated statutes. The sextortion case of Hassanbunhussein Abolore Lawal is not just about one predator and one victim. It is about the intersection of technology, vulnerability, and global crime networks. It forces us to ask, how do we protect young people from digital predators? Can international cooperation keep pace with borderless crime? And how should laws evolve to address the devastating consequences of online exploitation? For one teenager in South Carolina, the answers came too late. But his story may shape how justice systems respond to sextortion in the years to come. This was Case, Cause, and Criminology.